Queers! On today's big gay agenda, today we are talking with Laura Checkley. She is an actress currently starring in Screw Series 2. Thanks for joining me today, Laura.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. Well, sort of in Zoom form.
I have just finished watching Screw, and it was amazing. I heard you talk about, not heard, but I saw that you said that series, I'm sorry, I'm American, I will say season.
Yeah, you know, I kind of flip between series and season because lots of English people have started saying season now, and I think it sounds cooler.
Because it just sounds like it's a whole like different show if you say series.
Yeah, I think season makes way better sense. Let's use season. I'm happy with season.
So in season 2, you said it was more dangerous, and oh boy, were you very right about that. But in the first season, in the second episode, there is a transgender storyline revolved around Troy, where one of the officers repeatedly called him it. What was it like bringing awareness to this issue in prisons?
It sort of blew my mind, actually, that we were covering it so beautifully as well. And Stephen White, who plays Gary, that the character you're referring to, who keeps saying the word it, so many conversations when you're having to play a part like that. Stephen's a really, really great guy. But it's important that we remember there are people out there that speak like that and refer to human beings like that. So it's really tough. But that storyline for me was one of the most important, actually, of series 1. And being queer, I just felt really. I stuck my nose in a lot and made sure that it felt right. And Riley Carter, who plays the part, is so brilliant. And I think he had a lot to do. No stories ever written. Rob Williams, our writer, is really good at checking in with the right people to make sure that he's writing the right stuff and telling the right stories. So it was important. It was important, and I'll be honest, it blew my mind that still happens. And it's great without any spoilers or anything. Riley comes back in series 2, and I was really pleased to see that.
This will be released afterwards anyway. So
okay, cool. So Riley Carter's character ends up being sent to a women's prison in the end. And it's a really, really, really difficult storyline, and it's a tough watch as well, because it just feels really unfair. And anyway, he comes back in series 2, and Lee Henry, who's the head of our team, she sort of tells us all just to, no one's noticed, so let him remain here. And it wraps up the story. It just felt, I love a happy ending. So it was great to see him back. And it was just a really interesting storyline. And I think what's great about Screw is that there's a lot of social commentary. Yeah, it's exciting, it's gripping, and you want to know what happens next. But really, the story, there's the story of the week with each prisoner is really where the heart of the piece is at. And you've got this exciting arc of this undercover cop and Jamie Lee O'Donnell, who plays Rose. There's a prisoner that's trying to kill her. So you've got all that big exciting plot going on, and then every week you've just got new characters coming in. There's another queer storyline in the second series. And I mean, for me especially, although Jackie, my character, isn't queer. Although
missed opportunity.
Well, I think that's a missed opportunity as well, because I'm like, maybe series 3 we can have a conversation about that. Maybe. I could. Well, actually, I think probably Jackie's probably fluid. I think she's probably really open to that stuff. So I'd be well up for that for season 3. Sorry, but it's it's always important, and I'm glad that we do it, and I hope that the trans community watching it are happy with that storyline, and it feels like a happy and certainly in season 2 it feels like a happier and more positive one.
There was one joke in, like, it was so sad what was happening, but when there was trans written on the board, they're like, wasn't that supposed to be a secret? And you're like, no, that's transfer.
Oh yeah, that's I think, oh God, memory serves right. I think Faraz, sorry, that's the actor's name, Ali. He thinks that's referring to the prisoner, and it's not. It's just it means transfer. Yeah, and I think he say like, aren't we supposed to not know about that or something like that? Yeah,
yeah,
I remember it now.
Be a secret.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
it's just the comedy that's just stuck in there is just brilliant in the midst of all this drama. It's just perfectly done.
I think it needs it. Like I say, our creator and writer Rob Williams, he volunteered and worked in prisons for years. He still does. He goes in and does workshops now and stuff. So it comes from a real place. He spent a lot of time in prisons, and we got to speak to a lot of prison officers. I got to speak to female prison officers and ask them all the questions I needed to ask them about what it feels like to be, a woman working in a male prison. And so it's really we've always got someone on board. Someone's there every week, every day, on hand if we have any questions. So everything's always coming from an authentic place. But I think, Rob, that the humour when you speak to any prison officers, it's really important in that job. You're not going to go to work every day and not have a laugh. And there's been some real funny shit that have happened in prisons that Rob hasn't put in Screw, but it comes from a real place. And I think the humour's, I think because it's so intense and gripping, when that humour does come along, it's really needed, and I think it's a nice release. All of the actors in Screw have had a bit of a comedy background, actually. A lot of us really love our comedy and have spent some time in it. So, when it comes along, we're like that, yay! No more crying!
Yeah, if you were to just watch this show, you'd be like, oh, they're all dramatic actors.
Well, yeah, right? So the humour is really important. It's funny. Rob can write comedy brilliantly, and we likewise love delivering it.
In an Instagram post, you talk about how this industry boxes you in, but Screw has been different. What has it been like just working on the show?
I've spent a long time in comedy, and I've been on the comedy circuit over here in the UK. And what happens, originally I trained in musical theatre. I was at a musical theatre. I was an old turn. I did musical theatre for a long time in my 20s. And then I'd always wanted to do comedy. And I just suddenly one day was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to dance. And I want to be funny. I want to make people laugh. So I just jacked it all in and went on the comedy circuit and was so hell-bent on being a comedian and being known as a comedy actress that I sort of left all the other stuff, pushed the other stuff aside, really. And then once I broke into the comedy world, it was sort of impossible to then get out of it. And as I've got older, I've realised that, I want to do some other stuff. I don't just want to do. I love comedy. It will always have my heart. It's my first love, and it's my safe space. But I've got to say, doing Screw has reminded me that I can do the other stuff, and that I hope people agree, but I'm all right at it. And I've really, really enjoyed the more dramatic stuff, and particularly here. I don't think it happens as much in America. You might disagree, but we get really boxed over here. If you're working class, you get to do working class kind of roles. Like I always get police officers or prison officers. I always get working class, Cockney, straight talking women, which I love playing because it's in my bones. But often you don't ever get to play up. If it was Downton Abbey, I'd be in the kitchen. That's I'm downstairs, and that happens a lot in this country. I think until you become a bigger name, Jodie Comer, you can go and do anything, and rightly so, she's incredible. But yeah, so I hope that Screw has changed a few people's minds, and I think comedians can make brilliant dramatic actors, sometimes better, because they can sort of, make you laugh one minute and then kick you in the fanny the next and make you cry. Like it's just, it's I think that I see it in America, like someone like Idina Menzel, or people that go and do musicals, and then they're in a drama, they're in a film, and that doesn't happen so much over here, because I remember I had a friend. Hey, there's a bark. There's your dog.
That is a bark.
I remember I had an American friend, and he said the difference between us Americans and the English is that if somebody pulled up in a convertible flashy Porsche next to us, an American would say, "I'm going to get me that car." If that same car pulled up next to an English person, they say, "Fucking twat." Show off. and that's the difference, I think that I think you guys allow each other, well, it seems from over here that you kind of go, we can do everything, and everyone should be able to do everything. It's always a surprise to people in this country that I used to dance and sing, and it's like, in America everyone can dance and sing and act and do it because they're allowed to. So
it seems like you have to.
Right, but you do, and why not? There's tons of sort of triple threats over here, and I think Hannah Waddingham said it when she won, I think it was the Emmy or one of those, when she was like, she was talking about musical theatre acts, going, look over here because we're really fucking good. And that's my view on it, I guess. I think I went off on a tangent. I'm ever so sorry, but did I answer the question? I don't know.
Yeah, you did. It was great. Are basically
just say yes. Just say yes.
But you were talking about like comedic actors doing emotional scenes. Your character went through a lot of emotional stuff in season 2. How do you get yourself into that mindset before filming?
I tell you what, it's quite difficult because it's kind of the first time I've done it. I've done it in theatre, but not in TV. And it's all very well doing it once or twice, but when you're in the room for 4 hours having to cry, and you say to the director, like, can we just be on me first so I can get rid of all the tears? And then they come back and go, yeah, we are going to catch you in this bit. And we're going to catch you on that angle. We're going to catch you on that angle. So you go like, squeezing the tears out at the end. But yeah, I think every actor has a different process. I think it's really, I think sometimes it can really depend on how you wake up that morning and how you're feeling. I try and get myself, I don't prat about as much. If I've got a scene like that, I have to go off and focus, and I listen to music. I always play a piece of music. It's by a cabaret artist called Meow Meow, and it's called All the Girls. And it breaks my heart every time I listen to it. So I put that on, I got in the zone. And then when you're acting with opposite people like Nina Sasanya, who plays Lee Henry, she's our CM, and Stephen White, they make your job much easier because they're brilliant. So in terms of prep, I try not to overdo it. I try and see what happens in the moment. But when it's really well written, it kind of happens. But then, and then some takes it doesn't, and you kind of just you can't give yourself a hard time. But you've heard about the tear stick, right? The actors never want to use the tear stick.
Yeah, I briefly heard about it.
It is fine. Like you should cut yourself some slack and go, I've been at this scene for 4 hours. It's okay that I still can't cry like I did 2 or 3 hours ago. And yeah, you've got so they rub. It's almost like vapor, like we call it Vicks vapor rub over here.
Yeah, we have that.
What you'd put on your chest. It's kind of like that. They sort of blow it into your eyes, and it sort of gets the tear ducts rolling. But of course, you can't see anything. You're just blinking. It's like, and also, you feel like you're a failure as an actor if you use the tear stick. But I just think, look, If you got to do it, you got to do it. But I didn't have to use the tear stick, which was great and good news. But yeah. But it's hard. I've got mates that I go to them cry, and they can just cry straight away. Whereas I don't cry a lot in life, so crying on demand is very difficult. But you know, on most jobs, directors and the crew are really great at giving you time, and it's really quiet on set, and you know, no one's mucking about. But we all know when to focus and give that person the time and space that they need. So, but you do feel the pressure because it's, you know, can't keep everyone waiting forever whilst you find the tears, you know.
Mm-hmm. When I was little, I used to think that I couldn't be an actor because I couldn't make myself cry.
But I feel like a lot of people think. I taught for years in a drama school, and I used to have this conversation with the young actors all the time, and I was like, being able to cry does not make a good actor. Like, it's great, it's a great skill to have, but ultimately, we're not all built the same way, are we? And we all have different armor, and I have a lot of it. So, you know, thinking about my dead cat, it don't work for me. Everyone has a different method. They either have to be in the moment to cry, or they have to listen to a piece of music, or they think of somebody they've lost, or whatever gets them where they need to get to. But I tell you what is a really interesting conversation to have is beyond that. When you go home, your body doesn't know that you haven't been through that trauma. So it takes a while for that to leave you. And I don't think we have those conversations enough where you are having, like, when you are doing intense jobs and you're having to really go there emotionally every day for 6-7 weeks, can take a toll. And I've got to say, I got really ill whilst filming season 2, although it was really cold up in Glasgow. And I got really run down because I think my body was going, hey, what's going on? Why are you so upset all the time? Are you okay? Yeah, let's make you rest and let's make you ill and rest. So yeah, it's listen, I love doing it. It's, you know, I'm not digging holes in a road. You know, it's a great job. But yeah, it's interesting to put yourself through that. You know.
My next question was actually, what do you do to get yourself out of it? Because a lot of people talk about how you get yourself in it, but then I'm really passionate about making sure that mental health is talked about, and that can take such a toll on you. So yeah, I wanted
It does.
is there anything you do right afterwards?
I have a large glass of red wine. No, seriously, I'd probably just call my girlfriend. Oh, sorry, wife. She's my wife now. Just recently married. So,
Congratulations.
thank you so much. Thank you. Can't believe I'm I can't believe I'm married. It feels weird to say wife. I don't know. Sort of patriarchal. I don't know if I'm cool with the word wife. I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, I still like to call her my girlfriend. It still feels quite hot and new when I say girlfriend. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, I recently did a play at the Royal Court in London, and we had a big chat. They offered this service where you get to talk through any problems that you had or anything you were struggling with, content in the play, or any sort of problems you had to do with stage fright, anything like that. They had a team of people who I can only describe as sort of therapists, really, that we had available to us. And they were available to us 2 weeks after we finished as well, which was amazing because they actually approached the subject about actors being what happens to them beyond the job, and not just emotionally, but like there's financial worries and how you just suddenly meant to just, you know, you've been going on stage and putting yourself through something for the last 3-4 months and then it just stops. And people can really struggle with that. And, you know, not just the unemployment part of it, but also just, it's like a drug going on stage. And I suppose it's something leaves your body suddenly and it's your body goes, what's going on? And they were available to us. And I've got to say it was incredible. And I think it needs to be on every job. Because I think if you are dealing with really difficult subjects that you find triggering, that you know that just feel really impossible and difficult, we just sort of deal with it on our own. I mean, look, I'm 43 now, and I'm just well, I just deal with it on my own. I've always done it, and actually, that's not. We shouldn't have to do that. So it'd be really cool if that could, you know, be implemented in the film and TV industry. Hopefully, it will, but. For me, yeah, large glass of red wine. I call my girlfriend, wife, and talk it through. And yeah, and I might whack on a bit of comedy. Anything, a bit of Drag Race always helps me, I've got to say. Anything that just sort of, I can just sit there and sit in a happy place for a second. Yeah. And even with, doing comedy, that can be exhausting as well, like physically and all the stuff you put yourself through. So yeah, I'd like to say something really clever and brilliant, but yeah, I just go home and chat to my girlfriend. And put it all on her.
We just talked to people at Soulless Mind who worked on Heartstopper and did mental health for them, and they had it available to them. So hopefully it will become more widely
That is incredible.
popular.
What are they called?
Soulless Mind.
Soulless Mind. That's okay. That's really good to know. Well, that's great. I hope it should be on every job, and have that team that's sort of more objective that you can just go and speak to, and it's in complete privacy, and that you feel comfortable being honest or whatever. Yeah. That's amazing to know.
Yeah, it's glad people are finally taking mental health more seriously.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So you also have a podcast called the Proper Class Podcast. Can you talk a little bit about what it is and why you started it?
So I started it back in lockdown. I mean, who didn't start a podcast in lockdown? It's been something I've been thinking about for a while, and I'm very passionate about the working class and what it means to be working class, particularly in this industry. And I have my co-host is a Jewish working class theatre director, and we often would sit down and moan and chew the fat over the industry and what we would come up against, not only as women but as working class women. And I read this article once. I can't remember for the life of me where it was from, but it really got my goat. And it said something along the lines of working class people spend their lives trying to run away from who they really are, something like that. And it really pissed me off because I'm really proud of my roots. And yeah, I called Hannah and I was like, can you believe this article? And I sent it over to her. She, it's really pissed me off. And I was like, we should say something about this and we should do something positive. And I think certainly in this country, being working class can be associated with it being quite bleak and without hope. And we wanted to change the minds of people and inspire a few. So we thought, what if we speak to, people that have done all right for themselves and against all adversities, gone and done it. And we try to talk to not just people in the arts, but we've spoken to some politicians as well and sports people. And we talk about their journey to success really and how they got there and all the prejudice that they faced along the way. And yeah, just breaking down a few misconceptions really. And it's a really positive, we have a moan about what it is to be working class sometimes, but it's not a class bashing. It's really just a celebration of being working class. And we talk about really working class stuff. And that's I've sort of thought I'd only do it for lockdown, but it did really well. And we got nominated longlisted for a National Comedy Award. So, which we do have comedians on, and it is sometimes funny, but I wouldn't describe it as a comedy podcast. It's a bit of everything. It's social commentary and it is funny along the way and stuff. But so it's doing all right, and we're just so we've carried on. But like yourself, it's a real labour of love, isn't it? It's important to us, and I'd love to be able to just do more, and but obviously we're reliant on guests and stuff, and we've got some brilliant, amazing guests on. So check it out, listeners, if you can. Thank you for the plug.
Of course. As someone who grew up and had a mom who had to work for everything, we were homeless at one point, but to become now, it's very important to show that not everybody is privileged
Yeah.
in this area,
Yeah.
and that people have had to work really hard to get where they are. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, well, thanks for listening. And it is important, like, and to hear that somebody has done something about it and with their life. And yeah, it's just so inspiring. I think if anyone, if I had that growing up, and I could hear people going, yeah, but we had no money, we had no home, no food, but here I am. It just brings hope, doesn't it? A little bit of hope, I hope.
Yeah. So what has your favorite project been to work on, since you've done so many different things?
That's tough, and it changes as I get older. I've got to say, I was in a comedy. So, as I said before, like, big childhood dream was to become a really well-known comedy actress. I think my big dream was I want to be on a primetime sitcom playing the lead, and I met Tom Davis, who's quite a big comedian over here in our country, and I met him on this other project that didn't do very well, and we just sort of, he's working class, I'm working class, we sort of, and the director, his director friend and co-writer, we all just hit it off, and very like-minded, and we did another project together, like an action comedy spoof, and that did like one season, but then we did no more. And then they came to me with this other project. They said, we're going to take you out to dinner, we've got this idea for a sitcom where you and Tom play husband and wife, and they were like, we want it to be you. And I thought, they're going to want Sheridan Smith or something. They're going to want me. They're going to want, someone with a much bigger name. So yeah, I had to prove myself and do a big commission read. And then I was given the role. And it was on BBC One, and we did two seasons, and it was a massive hit. And it was Terry King, the character I played, was just such a doofus and a real goofball, and I got to do loads of physical comedy, and it really launched me. I've been doing loads of other jobs along the way, but this was a massive deal, and it did really well in this country, and it sort of catapulted me just into a different level. Got a new big fancy agent, and before, when I was being told I couldn't get seen for drama, the first thing this big fancy agent got me was Screw, and yeah, so it's been a journey, and but I've got to say, playing that role was like a dream come true. It's just, I remember we did a Christmas special, and it was always had this thing in my head as a kid, I really want to be in a comedy Christmas special, because the whole family sat around watching it. It was just always my dream. And we did a Christmas special, and I remember we had this scene where we decorated the whole crescent that Terry and Gary live in, and there was just these huge like lights, and really gone for it. And we were going down in the car ready to shoot, and I just turned to Tom and I was like, we're in a Christmas special on BBC One primetime. And he's like, I know. I was like, we've done it. And it was, it's just really, really special job, and I've met friends for life on that job. And and I will always work with Tom and James, who are the creator of King Gary. But yeah, I think that's probably to date my favourite part. But Jackie's come in a close second, because drama's such a new world for me, and I'm really enjoying playing her. So this time next year, she could take over. It just it's every job holds. I did a film called Military Wives with Kristen Scott Thomas and Sharon Horgan. And it was based on a true story, and it was just a whole ensemble of women, and it was just a really, really special job, and I've got friends for life on that. And it was a film, but it came out during COVID, so we got completely lost. And that there's different jobs, have different meanings, where you meet your soulmates, or you get to tell a really gorgeous story. There's another job I was in, it's called In My Skin. It's on BBC. I think you can get it. I don't know if you guys can get it.
It's on Hulu right now.
Is it on Hulu? Yeah.
I started it.
I'll have you. Yeah. So it's a coming of age queer story, but mostly it tackles so many themes, mental health. And I play the PE teacher, who's a bit of a dick. She's a dick. but she's queer, and she sort of tries to help the lead character, the protagonist, come out in her weird way. But yeah, it can be funny, but it is truly, truly heartbreaking. It's based on Kaylee Llewellyn's life and upbringing. And Kaylee's a really, really dear friend of mine. We've known each other for a very, very long time, and she'd sort of written the part Mrs. Blocker for me. And it was an all-female led kind of creative team, directors. I've never seen so many women on a set, and it was like, it was amazing. So that's this really special job for me, and we won loads of BAFTAs and RTS awards, and Kaylee is now a really big writer, and she wrote on Killing Eve, and she's busy over in your part of town. Like she's gone Hollywood, baby. But yeah, she's doing really well. So that was a special job for me, and to see her just completely skyrocket is so I've got different ones, but yeah, I guess in terms of parts, and it would be King Gary. Yeah, so I'm so like the most long-winded answers ever.
Yeah, but you're interesting, so it's fine.
Can you imagine? Like, hello, where's she gone?
I mean, there's people who will give like 2 sentences answers that I'm like, I don't know what else to ask.
I've run out of questions.
So is 2 seasons typical for that part of the world?
It happens a lot, doesn't it?
I'm just wondering, I'm curious now. Or should we hold out hope for season 3 of Screw?
Oh yeah, I think drama, they seem to let dramas go on a bit longer over here, but with comedies, they kind of you're right, it's like 2 seasons and then bye, that's your lot. I don't know what that is behind it. We certainly want to do more King Gary, so never say never. We'd love to do some more. I think we'll all come back together one day. And we've had conversations, so I don't think I wouldn't rule it out completely. But it's kind of The Office and 99. I mean, Go on Fawlty Towers. They're all like two seasons, and that's your lot. I don't know. Maybe it says more about the viewing, the public. Maybe that's all. Leave them wanting more, eh? But it's kind of frustrating sometimes. Yeah, it's kind of frustrating.
Especially since like the seasons are so much shorter over there.
Yeah, because you guys get like 10 eps, don't you? Like I
think we're going down to 8 now. Like we've been slowly following, because it used to be 24, 22.
I mean,
then it went down to like 18, 16. Then it went down to 12. Yeah. And so like we're slowly going down.
Yeah. I mean, the great thing about Screw is they're hour-longs, so you do get a good. You feel like you get time, but often when you're doing half-hour stuff, 6 just doesn't feel like enough to complete the story. And actually, when they did the second series of In My Skin, they only gave Kaylee 5 episodes to tell the story in, which she does beautifully. But I just think it was a really shit mistake. It's a BAFTA award winning, and I don't think they thought it was going to be. It was against all the odds. It was a tiny little show that just did so brilliantly well against all the odds. And I think it's hard. It's a battle when you're trying to tell a female-led queer story. I think it always feels like a bit of a battle. You get the L Word, they cancel it. You get League of Their Own, they cancel it. And it just,
oh my gosh,
I mean,
we're
don't
not
talk
over
about
League of Their Own right now.
I'm so upset about it. I honestly me and my friends were just texting going, what? It was like the best show to come out that year, regardless of whether you're queer or not. Regardless, it was an excellent show. And I mean, I loved the movie growing up. I was obsessed, completely obsessed. One of my faves, actually. So when, and actually, I did put myself down on tape. I knew I wasn't going to get it. I was like, I'm going to go for someone American. But it was like, oh my God. Yeah. I mean, I got to audition for it. I didn't get it, but so I've got, and you just feel like they give with one hand and take with the other. And so, it was interesting that they only gave Kaylee 5 eps, but you'd never guess it. Like the way she gets to tell this story in like 2.5 hours is incredible. But you should all watch In My Skin. Not because I'm in it. It's just a beautiful story. it'll make you laugh, and then it will really, kick you in the gut the next. It's heart-wrenching. It's brilliant, and really important themes running through it. So carry on watching it, Kaitlynn.
Yes, I'm only on like the second episode right now, but I will definitely keep watching.
Of the first series?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Second series is like, oh my God. keep going.
So over there, do you deal with shows getting canceled after one season as well, or is that like more us?
I think it feels less cutthroat over here, but yeah, things go after one season here. It's just you just never can tell. Like with King Gary, the figures were through the roof. The catch-up figures, and that's the other thing. Over here, we still do. I think they still count the viewing figures nightly, and no one watches anything as it's happening anymore. We all binge watch. We all, I like to escape into a world. I'm just doing the morning show currently. And yeah, I'm going to do all of that, and then I'm on to something else. I like to sit in that world, do it all, and then move on to the next. And I think that's how most people, because of all the streaming services now, that's how most people watch TV. And it's unrealistic to rate a show on how they're doing not on a nightly basis. People just don't watch TV like that. So yeah, the catch-up figures were really great, but it wasn't. That was it. It was like, well, yeah, but I don't know if we want to do anymore, and that was that. It's just, you can never tell. And the same with League of Their Own. I mean, that did not struggle. That did brilliantly. Everyone I knew was watching it. It was a hit. Madness, absolute madness.
You have Abby Jacobson. Abby and Darcy together were just amazing.
Oh, don't. I know. Don't. Honestly, I replayed that scene over and over. Yeah. So good. So good. It was and all the other storylines in it, and so brilliant. Yeah, it was, and being a massive League of Their Own fan, they just put enough nods in from the film to make me really happy. Yeah, what a shame, huh? What a shame. Yeah, I can't believe it. There you go. But it's just, that's it. It's like, there's no rhyme or reason. If someone waltzes in and they decide some big wig upstairs that decides they don't want it, that's it, right? There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah.
And the fact that they just tried to blame it on the strike is ridiculous. But that's a whole nother story.
I'd heard a rumour anyway that League of Their Own had only been given like 4 eps or something before the writer's strikes anyway, so that's bullshit. They didn't want they didn't want enough of it on telly, did they? They wanted to cut it right down. Why 4? Like, anyway, that's what I heard.
People probably, the theory is that they didn't want to be homophobic.
Yeah, right. So we'll just give them 4. Crikey.
I don't know what's worse, if they would have cancelled it or just given 4. Like,
yeah, like, okay. Mind you, I'd have taken 4 over nothing, would you?
Yes. Just we need more queer shows not getting canceled after one season.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway, if you could dream as big as possible, what would your dream project be?
Well, I've been writing for many years, live shows and whatnot, and I've had many scripts in development, but nothing's, I've had them commissioned, but then they've not been made. So my big dream job is for me to write and star in my own comedy. I'm close. I'm really close. I've been very, very close with a few channels, but it's so difficult with streamers now. We have our terrestrial channels here, like we've got BBC 1, 2, ITV, which is 3, and then Channel 4 and 5. And then we go into streaming land like Sky and all of that. And so yeah, you kind of have to start as a writer once those terrestrial channels kind of go, yeah, we're not sure if we're kind of doing that at the moment, or we're not feeling that, maybe make the show this, maybe that. You then have to start going, well, how would it appeal to a streaming service? And then you have to start writing differently. So I'm sort of there at the moment. I've been developing a show for the last 4 years with a production company and the BBC. But it's a long road, and you can sit on that for 4 or 5 years and they say no, Oh, we're not looking for that anymore. Of course you're not. It's 5 years have passed. You liked it 5 years ago. You love the idea now. Of course, yeah. So, yeah, and I've got other things in development with other production companies. So I just want to get something made that I've written and get it on the telly, and be in it. That would be the dream. That would be the dream.
I can't wait for that day. I will definitely be following you and cheering you on the whole way.
Yeah, well, I hope so. Well, yeah, it'll happen. I'm going to do that thing I'm going to get me that Porsche. It's going to happen. I won't be British about it. Yeah, it's going to happen.
Manifest it.
Absolutely.
So I noticed you have a dog named Bosco. Can we just talk about how cute he is?
He's really cute. He's on the floor now, just in the kitchen, because that's where it's cool. It's so hot here right now. Oh, he's the best. He's a toy poodle. He's got a ridiculous underbite. And oh my God, he's my baby. He's our baby. He's called Bosco. So my wife is from Dublin in Ireland, and she grew up watching a kids show, and the puppet on it was called Bosco. We were hoping to get a girl at the time, and that fell through, and we were going to call her Beryl. So we always knew that we were going to have a dog called Beryl. And then we're like, oh, so, okay, well, there's just a boy. So we'll get a boy. That's fine. We'll get a boy. Yeah, we'll have him. And then we're like, what are we going to call him? And she's like, what about Bosco? I was like, that's cute. Let's call him Bosco. He looks nothing like Bosco, the puppet. He has all like red hair and whatever, but it's curly, and Bosco has curly hair. So yeah, he's great. He's a great little dude.
Oh, I love dogs. So like whenever I see them on
do you have dogs, plural? You have 2 dogs, do you, or 1 dog?
Yes, I have a little Yorkie and a mini Schnauzer.
Oh, I love miniature Schnauzers. My friend has a miniature.
Come here.
Oh yeah. My friend has a miniature Schnauzer called Maud. Right now. Oh,
I'll bring her up afterwards for you.
Yes, so cute. She's like that. I'm resting right now. They sleep so much. Dogs sleep so much.
They do. Oh my god. I
was worried at one point. I'm just going to Google this, and it is like apparently they should have between 20 to 22 hours a day. I'm like, that's the whole day. It's like,
when are they awake?
Yeah. We need them awake. I need cuddles. Wake up.
So the last question I have is, why should people check out Screw?
I think if you like Line of Duty, if you want to see a good drama with brilliant themes and difficult storylines and important storylines, and you like on the edge type dramas, this is the one. Honestly, I think particularly in season 2, you are going to want to know what happens next. Season 1's the same, but season 2 is like different gravy. It's like I forgot just how gripping it was. You're going to want to know what happens next, and just when you think it's going one way, it completely flips and turns the other. And it's a great ensemble, character driven piece, and it's got great heart. And it's beautifully told, and the script's great. It's like, just watch it. It's really good, and it really feels British. It's very British. But it's super exciting. And we have. Have you ever seen Derry Girls?
I just started it. I was like, oh shoot, I didn't realize.
Yeah. So Jamie Lee O'Donnell, who's in Derry Girls, she's one of our leads in it, and Nina Sasanya. I think Nina was in Love Actually. She's in it too. So we've got it's just a real sort of heavyweight kind of cast, and great acting, great script, great stories. Watch it, and you're gonna eat it up.
Amazing. Laura, it has been amazing getting to know you better. Thank you so much for talking to me today. Before we sign off, do you have any final words for the listeners at home?
Yeah, watch Screw. Yeah, that's it. Be kind, stay safe, and and that's it. Check out Screw. Oh, and my podcast.
Yeah.
Which is the Proper Class Podcast.
Okay, to everyone at home listening, make sure to check out Screw, the Proper Class Podcast, and everything else that Laura has worked on, because she's amazing.
Oh,
Until
thank
next.
you.
No problem. I mean that truly. Until next time, hydrate for lesbian Jesus and gay it up all over the place. Bye.
I love that.
And with that, we've been Big Gay Energy. If you like this episode, check out all our other episodes right here on YouTube. Please like, leave a comment below, and subscribe for more amazing, super gay content.
If you'd like to support us, check out our merch store, or join our Patreon for early access to episodes, exclusive content, and so much more.